Here's one on life wisdom, also from my one of my favorite books, The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. You don't have to go to graduate school, learn Greek, or read thick books with extremely long paragraphs by 19th century German authors to change your philosophy. A life philosophy is something so simple, so basic, so basic a 6-year-old child can understand it. Here's an example of a life philosophy. It comes from Ralph Waldo Emerson in his essay on compensation. Do the thing and you shall have the power. Profoundly simple and just as powerful, the sort of wisdom you can actually apply in everyday life. Nike said pretty much the same thing, only with fewer words. Just do it. But I like the Emerson version better, and we'll be using it again later on when we talk about applying the slight edge in your life. There are two prevalent types of attitudes, entitled and value driven. A value driven attitude says, "What can I do to help you?" An entitled attitude says, "What have you done for me lately?" An entitled attitude says, "Pay me more and then maybe I'll work harder." A value driven attitude says, "I'll work harder and then I expect you'll pay me more." Which of these attitudes is driven by Emerson's philosophy, do the thing and you'll have the power? Your philosophy is what you know, how you uh, how you hold what you know, and how it affects what you do. You can look at anyone's actions and trace back through the attitudes behind those actions to their source, the philosophy behind the attitudes. Show me what a man does, and I'll show you his philosophy. Here's another example of a life philosophy, this one from Thomas J. Watson, the founder of IBM. The formula for success is quite simple: double your rate of failure. These days, we aren't often taught that the key to success is to double our rate of failure. On the contrary, we're taught to avoid failure like the plague. You've probably heard the expression, failure is not an option. Oh, really? Well, here's a reality check. Failure had better be an option, because whether or not you consider it an option, it's going to happen. If you go through life with the philosophy that failure is not an option, then you'll never have any good opportunities to learn. If Babe Ruth had lived by the philosophy that failure is not an option, then you and I would have never heard of him. Why? Because Babe Ruth not only set a world record for home runs, he also led the league in strikeouts. Michael Jordan, considered by many as one of the greatest basketball players of all time, winning 6 NBA titles with the Chicago Bulls, didn't make his high school team as a sophomore because they thought he was too small. The next 2 years, he grew 4 inches, honed his game, and went on to do pretty well. Over the course of his career, Abraham Lincoln had a staggering record of lost elections and public office failures. For the ungainly lawyer from Illinois, failure was not only an option, it was practically his specialty. If it hadn't been, he would never have made it to the White House, and who knows what the United States would look like today, or if there would even be such a thing as the United States. And it's hard to imagine what your lives would be like today if Thomas Edison had subscribed to the failure is not an option philosophy. In his efforts to find a stable filament to make his electric light bulb invention work, he tried out thousands of different versions, and every single one failed. His famous comment, "I have not failed, I've simply discovered 10,000 ways that don't work." Successful people fail their way to the top.